Okay, there we go.
6:06 p.m. Okay.
All right, let me share my screen here.
Why is clerk got a small first letter and chair and vice chair get capitals?
There, we upgraded you.
Thank you. Gotta fight for everything when you're clerk.
Yeah.
I think when I typed that out, I noticed it, and then I was like, well, it's fine.
Oh, you know, John, he takes offense easily.
I know.
That's right. Thin skin. So Blacktop is BLAK because that's a company, right, Mike?
Yeah. BLAK.
Is it all one word or two? I can't remember.
I think it's all one word.
We can look it up.
Yeah, I think it's all one word. Yeah,
Like that.
I think that's right.
I'll look it up.
I can look it up now, too.
Well, there you go.
Where are they out of?
Lebanon, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Just like that, Wendy?
that's right.
You might put for came to assess for quote on paving 1 mile of Stratford Road, just so we know right away what we're talking about.
What's that, John?
We should
Oh,
probably
paving.
put for
Okay.
paving.
Okay.
And Pat Ross he's a V-Trans engineer or a state engineer, probably put that.
Yeah, he's a hydraulic engineer for the state of Vermont.
There we go. That'll work. Or just put V-Trans engineer. He must work for V-Trans, right, Mike?
Right. Right.
You can scroll if you want. You good, Mike?
Yep.
Oh, here's Gary.
Wendy, when it says prices at transfer station, is that what we talked about, or is that what we kind of agreed on?
That was what we, I guess, agreed on, that everybody said was like the prices. I talked to Mike and I talked to Becky, and then I told you guys all these prices, and everybody were like, okay. And then
Okay.
tractor tires, Mike was gonna look that up.
I was just thinking that
You-
they don't make, I don't think, 15-gallon trash bags, so we should probably, and 30's probably, I mean, they make those, but I don't know if we should go up from those.
All right, I did put in how many gallons, because I didn't know, I was like, oh,
Well,
there's
that's-
15 gallons.
That's
I-
fine.
I printed off what Randolph uses at their
Okay.
transfer station. And they go by 15, 30, and 45
Okay,
on bags.
right, that's what I was thinking. We should probably go, I don't know what, like maybe 30 for 2 and 45 for 3, something like that. I don't know. I mean, there's the common, sizes is what's a kitchen bag is 13 gallons, I think.
Yeah.
Trash compactors like 20, 18 to 20. And then they sort of are, there's a 30 and a 33 maybe, something, or 32. And then they
Yeah,
go up.
35 or something.
Yeah, then they go up to 45, which is what I generally use, just because they fit in those like brute trash cans.
Right.
All right, do you want any of these things?
But we could amend it, at this
Right.
meeting.
Because I got some information when we get ready to talk about this later on.
Okay, let's do that.
I got a bunch of stuff.
I don't have to put that. I could just be prices discussed or something, and then not have that out, so that not be specific at this point.
Or just put discussed prices at transfer station. So it's not like a final thing.
Oh, I see what you mean here. Disgusted.
How was Lori Berger doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. How are things in West Tunbridge? The sun's still shining?
Yes, it's quite pleasant over here.
Yeah. It's been a good day.
Yeah, beautiful day.
Can you be a snowbird in West Tunbridge and just stay right in West Tunbridge? So sunny and warm over there.
Yes, you can.
You don't even have to go to Florida.
No. A little short on salt water, but we make up for that.
Wendy, we didn't extend payment, did we, of tax bills to February 1st? There was a grace period for penalties, is that right? Or
Right.
interest?
Right.
Okay. So what it was update that came down from extended grace period?
Oh, it was because of the school vote. We had to extend it to February. Well, we didn't have to extend it to February, but we had to wait for the school vote to be final.
Right.
And that's why we extended it to February.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
because we got 2 bills.
Right. And we
What, were you
didn't
delinquent?
charge any delinquency during that time.
So if you didn't pay that first bill in November 1st, you weren't delinquent until after February 1st?
Right.
Okay.
That's February 2021.
February 20.
You get a squeaky door hinge, John.
Yeah. A hungry dog. He wants to go out.
I don't see anything wrong with the rest of it.
There's more.
There's more.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. John's got to find something there.
That's right.
Is that a word, John? Emergency facilitations?
Don't know, and be used as a,
Well, I don't know. Maybe it is a word.
I don't know,
John knows.
would allow town to be used as a facility, emergency facilitations place. I made it up, but maybe it works.
It looks like a word to me.
Would. It's emergency.
It's a place you'd use in case of an emergency. So I don't
Yeah.
know how to say that.
That's how I usually get around those things. I can change it.
That would be-
Well,
you
it
could
might be
say,
all right.
well, emergency shelter or something like that. But it's also more than just a shelter. It is a place to facilitate a reaction to an emergency.
I thought that's what Brenda was saying, in case they had to close 110.
Right. I think I leave
Right.
it.
I just wondered if that was a real word.
Let's let people talk about it.
John's muted, so we ain't gonna listen to him.
I am. You should have heard me go off on facilitations. I guess we get the point. I'm going to use it on the house floor.
Yeah, where it goes. Make sure you use it in context, though.
That's right.
Don't just say it.
Well, if everybody uses it enough, it'll turn up in the next.
Yeah.
dictionary.
The word of 2021.
That's right. It's trending. It's trending. It'll be like, I drank so much sap, I've got to go to the facilitations.
You could
For an
keep
emergency.
it.
Yeah.
Brenda could be the facilitations manager. Emergency facilitations manager.
Maybe say in the last one, select board discussed the benefits of appointing a treasurer or a town clerk. And or, something like that.
Did you address that in your write-up? I read part of it, but I can't remember.
I didn't know,
Okay.
because we didn't really get anywhere on it, right?
No, we just thought we'd talk about it at town meeting.
You want me
Oh,
to
it
take up
says
the
in
last
their
sentence?
report to the town, right? I guess I should have probably brought it up, but we might be able to. I don't know if we can put it in the warning or not, or we'll just bring it up there.
Yeah, just bring it up.
You want me to get rid of that last sentence then?
Sure. Or say we'll bring it up at town meeting.
Okay.
Will there be another TQ before town meeting? Probably not.
No,
Not fully.
forget all about it. Now we got to remember.
Yeah, we should be able to do that.
Who's gonna
Mike.
present it?
Looks good. I move that we approve the draft minutes of, what is it, March 9th? March 9th,
March.
2021 meeting.
I second it.
All right, looks good to me. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next thing is a road report.
Talked to Rodney and they're out working on roads, but it has not been, the roads have not been very bad. And they're just hitting little hot spots here and there. Equipment's all going good. The grants, he's still waiting on the state engineers to show up. We got Tunbridge was fixed.
Oh, good.
They did it like the day after our meeting. I called Rodney up and asked him about it, and he said, well, he says, Mike Howell's supposed to be down there. And so anyways, got that done.
Oh,
Rodney wanted me to ask whether we should do crack sealing this summer and on the blacktop. And it's roughly $4,000 a day, and he thinks there's 3 days worth. And anyways, and he said, and this is for John, I guess, Rodney understood that there's going to be a lot of money floating around from federal money or something. I don't understand from where, but he wanted to make sure that we all kept our eyes open for it and what it was going to be used for, and you know, if there's going to be any road stuff or highway stuff. So
Yep. The House just passed the so-called T-bill, the transportation bill today, so still got to go to the Senate, but yeah, I think there's some federal money in there.
okay. So anyways, that's about it. So I
Any
think
update on the Chevy?
no, haven't heard. We're waiting for Tenco
Okay.
to give us a date. That's it. I think we should go ahead and get that crack sealing scheduled. That's my personal opinion. And that's Rodney's personal opinion.
Do you guys like crack sealing? Does it, I mean, for the amount of money you spend, does it really save a lot?
Oh yeah, I think so. If any water you can keep out of the road,
Yeah,
is money well spent. You know, if it puts us off paving for another year or 2 years or something.
right.
And I was trying to see what we had for paving money, but
Did we do crack sealing last year? We did
Yes.
it last year or the year before. I can't remember.
We
Both.
I think we've done it every year.
Okay.
Which you should do it every year, I think. That way, you know, you wait 1 year and then you get water in there, and then it blows up into a big mess, and then you can't crack seal it.
Do we crack seal on Spring Road and Potash?
Yes,
We do.
Yep. because I think. Yeah, because
Yeah,
We
anywhere
did.
we have pavement.
we did Spring Road last year, I think.
I think
Because
so.
then we
Yeah.
paved it a couple years ago and
Yeah.
and it started getting a couple cracks in it.
Yeah.
And so he had them do that.
I noticed even the new pavement from last fall that they put in has a couple cracks in it already. Just
Yep.
Too bad, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And, I think my personal opinion is crack sealing's well worth it because if you don't do that, like that new pavement, then in 3 years, it's all busted up.
Right.
And if we can keep it for 10 or 12 years, it'd be money saved.
Yep.
Because Randolph never does any crack sealing and they paved South Randolph Road, probably 6 years ago, and there's nothing left to it anymore.
Hmm.
And that's one of their better paved roads. And, according to the road crew.
We'll make a motion, Mike. I'll be right behind you.
I'll make a motion that we tell Rodney to schedule crack sealing on the paved roads for this summer.
I second that. Do we have a dollar figure we want to add to that? Or days?
Well, he said it was approximately $4,000 a day. He figured they'd have 3 days worth.
Okay.
That's what we generally have is 3 days. So,
Not to go more than $12,000 in.
yeah,
Or 15 or something like that, if it goes a little bit over.
yeah. And I don't know if he's checked into it, whether the price has gone up from last year or whether he's just using last year's quote. So I might leave that open, but
I guess we could just we're giving Rodney the okay to
Just-
sign them up. So we don't
Right.
really have a dollar figure now.
right. Because if he calls them up now, because he likes them to come end of June, 1st of July, when everything's dry. And if he calls them up now, then he can kind of dictate when he wants them.
Right.
Get on the schedule now, not wait till the middle of June.
Right.
All right, you seconded, John?
I did.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
All right,
Aye. And that's all Rodney had for the road report?
yeah, he said, everything was going good and, trucks were going good and no mud.
Yep.
So it's all good.
Well, it's gonna keep coming along.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's pretty pleased so far.
I'll bet we'll have a little bit of snow and some crap at the end of the month, though.
No, Wendy said no more snow.
Really?
Yeah.
None?
She's gonna
Huh.
look good planting their peas with her friggin' snowshoes on.
Well, Monarch Hill's looking pretty good now, I guess.
Those are snow peas, Mike.
Snow peas, okay.
Don't you know?
Now, things are going too well at the moment. Something might happen.
All right, what's up next?
Well, it was gonna be Mick McGuire, but I guess I don't see him on. And I did not send him an email, but I was hoping he would remember because I thought he was gonna finalize it. So we'll just see if he comes on later. And we'll do discussion of transfer station prices.
Do we want to do
Yeah.
Catherine while she's here?
Might as well.
Okay,
Okay, that was gonna be under other business.
Oh,
I guess, what do you guys think?
we can change the schedule around and have other business now.
Okay,
I'm gonna get a glass of water, but I'll be listening and I'll be right back.
we ain't got time for that.
Too late. Go ahead.
Global warming
Can you unmute Catherine? And-
out there.
What's
Oh,
that?
okay,
I think I unmuted myself.
okay.
Okay, so Gary knows a
Well,
lot of
wait,
this.
wait till Gary gets back.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Gary knows most of it because I always call him.
Well, he's pretty thirsty.
We don't want him to suffer.
No,
Have a glass of water.
You should
Okay,
have one
so-
of those stanchion water things, Gary, where you just put your head down in the water.
That's an idea.
Starts
why is he
pouring out.
getting, why is he getting olive and a toothpick in that glass?
It's flavored water.
Oh dear. So I'm going to talk in very sort of generic terms because I don't want to mention names because I think some of the people that have made the complaints are concerned about retaliation. And so if we need to get more specific, I'll talk to Gary and he can go into a closed session with you guys if you feel like it's necessary. So I've got 2 dog cases and 1 bovine case. And they are going to become serial offenders, the animals as well as the humans that own the animals. And I don't quite know what to do. I've got Mariah looking at a 3rd letter that I've composed to 1 dog person who has done nothing, not gotten their dog tagged. This is the 3rd letter. You know, the first letter said, get your dog tagged. The second letter said, get your dog tagged and you're going to start getting fined. Now it's time to give him a $75 fine and he's not going to do anything. And these people, the serial offenders have many other issues that go along with them, as you can imagine. And so Gary and I talked briefly about, so we have a $75 fine and then it becomes $150 and et cetera, et cetera. Then at what point do we go and take the dog and put the dog in doggy jail? And then, you know, we're stuck paying for the dog and that person goes and gets another dog and the cycle starts over again. Does what I'm saying make sense?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do to prevent that.
Yes, but at the same time, the people that are making the complaints have every right to complain and.
Oh,
and
yeah.
need-
No,
right,
no.
and need the problem fixed. So I don't know what the solution is and I kind of need some guidance, except for,
Catherine,
yeah.
what were these dogs doing and the cattle?
Well, we'll get to the cattle in a second because that's sort of a separate issue. So the dogs, one of them is my dog's demonstrating very, very noisy, barking perpetually. And I followed the guidelines that the town has where there have been multiple complaints about it. And I went and was the witness where I went and heard the dog barking. I've also had someone hold their phone out and I've heard the dog barking from inside that person's house with the doors closed. So it's really offensive. The other dog is one that's just let run constantly and it runs down the road and people call me and said, I've nearly hit that dog. I saw it at 2 a.m. in the field with my sheep. You know, the list sort of goes on and then it gets better. The letter goes out, things get better for a little bit and then it's right back at it again. So, you know, the town ordinance is very clear on how we deal with it, but these people don't care about the town ordinance. Hold on. I have someone who wants to join the meeting. You know, they, and I don't know how we solve the problem. You know, beyond what our town ordinance tells us to do, you know, and my first thought is, oh, well, we take the dog to doggy jail and everyone loves their dog and they're going to go get their dog out of doggy jail. I don't think these people have the wherewithal to love their dog. Does that make sense? So they're just going to leave the dog in doggy jail and go get another dog. Is what I suspect. I don't know what to do, you know, and I'm trying to be proactive before spring really hits and these problems start escalating. So,
Well, I still don't think that there's anything we can do about the way people act. I think the only thing we can do is follow our policy. And if we put the dog in doggy jail and they leave it there, I don't, that's nothing. I don't know what we can do about that.
right. So when people call and complain, what do I do
Well,
in exchange?
You gotta do your,
Right,
whatever the $75 fine and the 150 fine and then have the dog arrested.
and if we
think.
arrest the dog, we're stuck paying some potentially really big bills.
Yeah.
So then do we say, and this is maybe something that has to be voted on, and this might actually scare some people. We'll keep your dog in doggy jail for 2 weeks and then it goes to the put down shelter.
Right.
But I think we need to have that voted upon or adopted into the ordinances as guidelines or something, because I don't have anything beyond the fines to hold as leverage over these people.
Right, we can't just say that. We've got to have it in our ordinance.
Right, and we need to follow through with it too,
Right.
because again, the two dog people that the complaints come in over and over again, they're not even bothering to get rabies shots for their dog, yet alone get it licensed.
So Catherine, I haven't read the dog ordinance lately, but it's definitely super important that the town follows like to the absolute letter of
FABCD, right.
exactly. So are you supposed to write reports and is there a hearing at any point? Like do the
No,
offending
so what-
people
Right.
come in
What
and give
happens
their
is I
side of
write the
story?
letter
Mhm.
and it starts off with get your dog license, and then it
Yeah.
starts fines.
Yeah,
And then it's rather vague about taking the dog off to doggy jail to collect the money from the fines. It gets very
Yeah.
vague at that point,
right.
and then there's nothing. So I think in the old days, as a farmer who let their dog run, you'd go, oh crap, my dog was caught in somebody else's sheep field. And you do something about it and you get your dog license and you pay your fine. We've got people that are so on the edge of not functioning in these two cases that, oh, I might have to put him out, that, they don't care.
Yeah.
And in the
Right.
meantime, the neighbors are they really are suffering for it.
Should we, I don't know if you or Wendy or somebody, should we talk to the league or somebody at VSP and find out sort of where we go at, where it starts getting big, like from doggy jail going forward, what happens?
I certainly can do that, because we'll talk about the cattle one in a second, and I can call the league and I can also call the state trooper that does the humane stuff here. I just sort of needed some guidance. So I'll do that and try and get some bullet points together, to pass on to you guys to discuss. But I have a feeling we're going to, you as the select board are going to have to do a bit more than
We
what's existing.
definitely need some information if we're going to reinforce our ordinance.
Right. Okay. I'm more than happy to do that. So the steer one in some ways is actually trickier and potentially a lot more dangerous. There have been 2 steers that have been out for all winter, actually. They did not get put down. On Friday night, an abutting landowner was going to euthanize them. So he texted the owner of the steers and said, I've had it, come and get them. They've destroyed everything. If you don't come and get them, I'm going to shoot them. And lo and behold, the guy came and got them, unfortunately. And it sounds like they're so pathetic that they're a humane case for the state police. I need to find out, for sure. I've not driven by to see what's going on, but the steers aren't going to stay where they were. They're going to go rampaging again. And the problem for us as a town becomes, we can rely on the state law. The state law says you've got to keep your animals fenced in. But now that I know about it, and Gary got involved in several phone calls. If somebody hits those steers on the road and they find out, and the owner of these steers, believe me, I'm sure does not have any kind of insurance. Somebody gets seriously hurt hitting these steers. What are the ramifications for the town? And I just want to kind of cover all our bases and make everyone aware of it, send the letter out to the homeowner. And again, I'll talk to the state police. No, I'll talk to the state police about when do we take the animals away? What are the guidelines for taking away the animals? And again, it might be something you should consider. Is there a way of rolling these into guidelines for the town as life gets more complicated with more non-farm people coming into the community? Because the owner of the steers, I'm sure, is having a good chuckle at home that his abutting neighbor's garlic got trampled and thinks it's, great that the flower beds got eaten, etc. I think he thinks that's kind of up his alley, thumbing his nose at his neighbors. So, it's a slightly tricky one. You don't want to piss the owner of the steers off. You don't want to take away his animals, but if he's not caring for them properly, we as the town, I suspect, start becoming liable as well. Does that make sense?
Do you know anything about that, John? Because you,
Well, right. I mean, in the legislature last year, we passed, it was all about humane treatment of animals, or on the other side, animal abuse and animal cruelty cases. And we passed something that became a law, Act 116 now, about adequate shelter for animals. And this year we passed, it hasn't become a law yet because the governor hasn't signed it, but it probably will. A bill about who's recognized by the state as a humane officer, and we're gonna limit it to somebody, either somebody in law enforcement, a humane, an employee of a humane society, or an animal control officer who have had this very specific training, so they recognize when they're animal cruelty. But that's not law yet, so it's quite unclear who, for example, can initiate an animal cruelty investigation. For sure, the Vermont State Police could. So if these steers were in really bad shape, body condition wise, or didn't have shelter all winter, that would trigger that. But this brings up that other issue of when one neighbor's livestock damages property of an abutting landowner. And we really haven't gone into that at the legislature. So I don't know. I mean, the league might know more about something like that, or Vermont State Police. And then, what are our options as a town to avoid a shooting war?
Right. So can the state police, if it's proven that the animals have not been cared for and it's a true cruelty case, can they take away the steers? What do they do?
Ultimately, they could. Right.
Okay. Because my concern was we'd go in. I mean, I was kind of thinking, well, I'll just take my horse trailer over. Gary sort of mentioned this, private citizen Catherine goes over there and loads them up on her horse trailer and drives them away, and off they go.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
But then, they go off to auction, and then the property owner or the steer owner saying, well, wait a minute, where's my $2,000 or my $5,000 when it was really $20,
right,
kind of thing. So again, I didn't know how to proceed, and I was kind of hoping that this property owner would just take it upon himself to shoot them, because it was just the easy solution. But that just didn't happen.
And I'm not even sure of, what in statute you're allowed to do as the property owner whose property is being destroyed by livestock.
Right. Okay, so I've got some homework that I will do, just basic homework between the league and the state police to find out,
Yeah.
what state law and what the state police can help us with. Okay. And then in the meantime, I don't know if the 2 letters from Mariah made it to you guys to review. One to go to the steer owner saying, it's now officially on our radar that this is an issue. And then the dog owner this is your third letter, you owe us your license money plus the 75. So she might be rewriting them because I'm a horrible writer. So she's probably cleaning them up so they make sense. And they'll come before you. So, all right, that's all I needed to do was throw this out to you guys sort of, in general terms. If you need to know more specifics, I'm, more than happy to bump into you on the road somewhere and fill you in.
I'd love if you could come to the next meeting and just share with us what you learned, because I think this is going to keep coming up, this sort of destruction of property, whether it's livestock or dogs killing chickens, that sort of thing. And what are the rights both of the town and of that property owner whose property is being destroyed? If a dog gets into your chicken coop, do you have the right to shoot it?
Yes, you do. That I do know. So I did talk to the league about when do you get to shoot a dog or not, because there were some sheep being attacked and the property owner called me up. Now, as a constable, the irony of it is I'm not allowed to carry. So I had to say to her, I can't come over there and shoot them as a constable. Don't you have a neighbor close by that can? So yes, you have the right to shoot them if it's livestock. If it's wild animals, you have to call the game warden and he comes and does it if it's a repeat offense. The other thing too, I found out is you can be walking your dog on the road and your neighbor's dog comes out and attacks you on the road. You have the right to shoot it then and there because you're being attacked. So loose dogs really kind of have a target on their back, so to speak. Now, does it happen very often? Very, very rarely does it happen, but it is state law that you as the property owner whose animals are being attacked have the right to shoot them. No ifs, ands, or buts.
But there must be gray areas that are complicated where, it's one thing if a dog's in your chicken coop or it's chasing your sheep, but what about Gary's heifers get out and run through my garden? Can I just open fire on them or you ride a horse through my field and post hole it? Do I get to shoot your horse? Because it's all destruction of property. I just don't know. Is it just lives being taken, or is it, potential if somebody, cows get out in Wendy's fields and they destroy a certain amount of, next Saturday's crop. Yeah. Does Wendy come up firing? I don't know if she's allowed to.
We could always test it, Wendy, couldn't we?
There you
go. Yes, I suspect it's something that's not been tested that much. And it might be the state really doesn't have an answer for those things. But the livestock dog thing is very clear that, your cows are being run, you can shoot that dog. End of discussion. But your garlic patch, no, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you talk to the league, ask them about that. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I will do so. Okay, I think I've got my homework. I don't know if I'll have it all done by the next select board, but I will try my darndest to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Catherine.
All right. Well, Wendy, do you dismiss me or what do you do with me?
You're all good. You can hang out and listen to the rest of the meeting, or you can sign off.
I'm going to eat dinner.
There should be something that says leave meeting.
I don't have any of those things. I'm just going to close the whole thing down.
Yeah.
And hopefully I don't ruin your meeting.
And Lenore.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, Catherine. All right.
Keep going.
She pushed the little red button by her desk.
Do you guys have other business or?
In other business, one thing I wanted to do, and I think I talked to Gary about this a little bit, is I'd love to, at maybe the next meeting, have a discussion about our general stores. I'd just love to get some information as far as where they're at and what potentially, in the next year we might see there. I know it's not our, legally, it's got nothing to do with us, but just, you know, hubs in town, I think are really important, whether it's the school or the library or general stores. And I just, business in general is certainly, you know, the economy of Tunbridge is certainly in our purview. And so I'd love to maybe dig into that. So maybe I would, you know, I could invite some people to a conversation at next meeting and the one after that.
Sounds good to me.
If you're
Yeah.
agreeable, Mike.
The hub in
All right.
West Tunbridge is my father's shop.
Really?
Yeah. Bill Cameron, David Race, my brother.
So what are you gonna do about, what are you gonna do about that to make it more hospitable to more people?
Nothing.
Extended hours.
Extended hours.
Maybe have a coffee pot there or something?
That's
No,
right.
no way.
No coffee?
No, nothing.
Repeal the blue laws over there in West Tunbridge.
All right, I have an issue that about, we should speak of, about the woman who owns the quarry up in Brocklebank.
Oh,
has
yes.
contacted me and said she and her brother are willing to sell said property. And I thought if we were still interested in potentially buying it for potential whatever, mainly I was thinking about is using the granite tailings for road use at some point. That we ought to, I don't even know where to start there, but we ought to maybe talk to Rudy again and firm up, or talk to somebody about what it might cost, what she said to make an offer.
What's it assessed at, Gary?
What'd you say, Mike, 8,400?
Yeah.
That's all?
5 acres of land.
My
Any-
wife,
any-
my
Go ahead,
wife
Mike.
said that properties in Tunbridge right now are selling for 10% over what they're appraised for. But of course, there's not many quarries that sell.
Yeah.
But-
Is there access to it?
That's something I wanted to look the deed up and actually see what kind of a deal there is, because there's a fair distance between the quarry road and the quarry itself.
Right.
And so you'd need to make sure you had decent access that you could get to it, so.
Yeah. I
So
don't know
I
whether
think-
there's an old right of way, you know, or something like that.
I can ask Mariah to maybe look up the deed to it at some point, just to,
Yeah.
and maybe surrounding deeds too. I know Randy Hoyt owns a camp down at the hill, right by the beaver pond. And so one of the things I think we would, one of the things I had thought about was just the infringing upon the neighbors in the neighborhood. Maybe they wouldn't want an active quarry going or trucks going up and down the hill or whatever. So,
Well,
We
I'm
need to
sure it
look-
would have to pass an Act 250
oh yeah,
permit, you know, but who owns the beaver pond?
I'm not sure about that.
So Rudy might know that too.
So anyway, I can actually forge ahead on that and see if Mariah will look up some deeds and stuff like that. So we could at least get started. And I don't think the woman and her brother are really in a huge hurry to sell the property, but I think if I were to send her another email saying that we're interested and just hold on, they'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
The health officer just stopped.
You want a driveway plowed?
She's gonna be joining us in a few minutes. She just had a health officer issue.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So anyways, just giving you a heads up.
So is she going home now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to get a bigger glass of water.
Well, I'm getting down low. I got about 3/4 of an inch right now. Now it's less.
Yeah, I think we ought to pursue that quarry thing.
Okay.
I don't, don't know how, but
The other thing I thought about was just up the road past the beaver pond, there's another, and I haven't actually walked over there to see it, but there's another old quarry, not near as big. And I think there was some, like Rock of Ages or some company owned it years ago. And there's actually a foundation to a building there. And they were talking about maybe quarrying there. Maybe that company like Rock of Ages or somebody still owns that property, and that one's just off the road. So maybe if this one didn't work out, we could talk with that one, and that would be just a lot more accessible.
Why don't we have Rudy give us the specifics on the quarry that we're looking at,
Yep.
and then maybe give us a little information about the quarry you're talking about.
Oh, that quarry is actually in Chelsea, so I'd have to get hold of someone in Chelsea that might know
Okay.
that. But I can do that too, because maybe we'd be chasing the wrong thing if we actually bought this quarry.
Right.
Just accessibility wise and all that stuff, and the other one might be a lot better off. But I don't know. So anyway, I'll look into both.
So Tunbridge could own land in Chelsea
Yes, potentially.
or buying up Chelsea.
Sort of like, yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Well, yeah, we should just get Rudy on because it might be interesting if, I don't know, who owns the beaver pond, but potentially it might be another piece of our town forest ultimately too. I mean, we could, if they were contiguous pieces of land and we could find, say, a philanthropist in town who would, we could name it after, then we could buy maybe a big chunk of land up there. Would be nice.
The Mullen Quarry.
That's right.
And the
Yeah.
McFeeters Pond. No, Lori and I went canoeing on the Beaver Pond last summer. It was a beautiful, beautiful night in June, and it was awesome to just be there. There wasn't a huge amount of wildlife, but it was a nice place to be. It's just so nice and quiet.
Well, and that must be a wetland, so that might be another concern as far as,
Right,
the chances of ever quarrying there might be really,
right.
really tough.
The quarry's maybe a quarter-mile distance from the pond itself. So I wouldn't think it would bother, but you never know.
Yeah. But, it's a historic property too.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, it is.
The quarry or the beaver pond.
the quarry, for sure. Yeah. I think a lot of our houses have granite from that quarry.
Yeah.
Is that the only quarry in town of stone?
Other than you might have a small quarry on your own farm or something where they made stone posts. But
Yeah.
that the thing, I think the only place where they actually tried to commercially produce something. Because you can
Yeah.
still see the remnants of the, what do you call those big tall posts?
The derricks and things.
Derrick, yeah.
Yeah.
There's still a bunch of cable there, and there's a base to one of those derricks and stuff, so.
Where was all the brick made that our Tunbridge brick houses are all made out of? Was there a brick factory? Emily's saying yes.
Ask her where it is.
I
Where,
don't know. Maybe Mick, if Mick comes on, we'll ask him.
someone like Ernest Howe or somebody told me one time that just down below where Chris Howe lives now, down near the river, they actually made bricks there.
Huh.
Because it was a good supply of clay,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't know. That's a good question. Have Emily look into that.
All right. And West Tunbridge, who knows where their clay came from?
We
Isn't the
No.
Hides a brick house?
yes,
It probably came from Clay White Road.
we snuck over at night over the Tunbridge.
You did?
Yeah.
That's kind of a nasty thing to do, kind of
Yeah,
dirty,
but
taking all our good bricks.
no brick over here.
All right, well, can we officially send her something just to let her know that we're very interested?
Yes,
Okay. And whether she, has any deadlines too.
okay, well, I'll do that. I'll do that to let her know.
It was great. So Rudy got a number for her, Gary?
She did, he did, and that actually is someone I used to know years ago. Her name is Stella Burrington now, but she was Stella Ladd years ago when I knew her, like 40 years ago. And so I called her last summer one time and had a great talk with her. So I'll be happy to call her and talk to her again.
Great. Good. Any other business?
We're just waiting for Betsy.
Oh,
Well,
see other business?
Well, I'll tell you, in the meantime, a brief story about this Stella Barrington's dad worked in the quarries as a young fella and worked for years there. And because of his work in the quarries, he was interested in quarrying. And when this quarry came up for sale, I don't know when it was in the 1940s, this quarry in Broncobank, he decided that he would buy it. And so he bought it whenever it was just to have it. And he was thinking about some commercial interest or something like that, but he never did get anywhere with it. But just interesting how a guy from Barrie would end up owning land in Tunbridge.
Was the Stone House from Stonehouse Road, is that built of granite?
I haven't seen it in so long, I couldn't tell you. I don't
I
know.
couldn't either.
we had a brick schoolhouse in West Tunbridge.
That's right.
Is it all tumbled down now, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Too bad. But
Yeah.
That was a nice building.
yeah, because one wall had the fireplace made right in it and everything.
Is that where you went to school when you were a kid, Mike?
Yes. Yeah. I used to take a stick of wood with me.
Yeah.
His father was the teacher. They only learned math.
Found a picture of my father and Eddie Hyde standing in front of the schoolhouse where my daughter's living now,
Yeah.
right above my father's.
How
And
old was your father?
oh, I don't know, 8,
Oh,
10, something like that.
yeah.
That's where he went.
Yep.
How many years did he go there? Did he go to high school there?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
No. They went to South Rolton.
Oh,
The Academy building, right?
Probably, I don't know if it would probably just 6th grades, I would imagine. I don't know, maybe 8.
yeah.
And then everybody went down to South Rolton.
Oh. All right.
Betsy's here.
I see her. Would you like to speak, Betsy? You're muted. There you go.
There you go.
Why, what did Mike say? What am I doing?
Your
You're
health
telling
officer
us-
hat.
You're
My
telling
health
us
officer
your
has-
story.
Well, is this a recorded meeting?
Yep.
Okay. So I've been
Hi, Betsy.
aware of I've been aware of a property yesterday that people have been living there for a couple, 3 years that in all likelihood doesn't have any septic and power. And now there are 3 different campers on the property, camping there. So I've been collecting factual information. Went up last night, David and I went up last night and there was nobody home. Talked to the listers today and to Becky. And I still believe it's one owner property. I was told that from some
The-
people in the area. What?
Did the gentleman with the mobile home, does he own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He does own the 70 some odd acres. Has a mortgage. I found that out tonight. supposedly there's people living in those campers. He told me to get off his property about 5 times tonight. And it was not a good interaction. It was a gentleman I'd met a few years ago. He was in a rental situation with no heat or electricity and needed emergency placement. And we found him emergency home for him and his dogs. And he, I kind of started out with that way, saying, I helped you out a while ago. I'm here to try and help you out this time. He was not in a good mood. And it's probably, in all the years, it's probably the first, I'm pretty sure it's got to be the first time that ever had an interaction like that. I'm not quite sure how come my husband didn't get out of the truck, because he almost did once, I guess.
So were you threatened, Betsy?
Was I threatened? Oh, yes.
No.
Oh, yes. Yep. Might have used, he used the F word quite a few times. Before we got done, I think I used it once. We got in a pretty good shouting match. David says, yep. I wasn't scared. I was trying to get the point across that we could talk and try and get something figured out. There wasn't anything to figure out. He owned that property and to get off his property. So he, fortunately I had my mask on and he couldn't see when I was smiling a couple of times, because that would have really ticked him off. But I said, well, I can come, when I come back, would it be more comfortable for you if I bring a sheriff with me and rather than just me? You don't have to come back here. You can write letters. You and the state can go. And I said, well, I don't know if I work for the state. And he said, well, the town. And I said, well, I don't really get any money from them either. And well, who are you anyways? It's like, it was kind of entertaining. But we're going to have, it's a similar situation where as health officer, the only thing I have anything to say about is failed systems. That's the only criteria. So this is something that gets reported to the state and they should be the ones enforcing it. And that takes a lot of time and money on their part. He does owe for about 3 years of back taxes.
What about people in the campers? You said there are people living in campers as well?
That's what I was told. He informed me that they were campers and he let people come and camp on his land and there was no laws against it. Well, I don't really know all of that, but I said, well, if someone's living there, it changes it a little bit, you know how that goes. They're not living there, they're camping there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, however, if he does have somebody living there, which that is what a neighbor has said, that there's somebody there all the time in one of them, that becomes a tenant under the definition of tenants. So the thing that
and you said that you can't camp for more than 60 days, right?
Right. Yeah. Then you've got to have some sort of permitted system.
And is this fellow's trailer that he's living in, is that all up to snuff on the septic and all of that stuff, or is there an issue there?
No, Gary. I said, do you have a septic system? And he says, no, I haven't had the money for one. And it's really none of your business or something. He goes, and I said, well, what do you do for septic then? That's none of your business. Get off my property. That was another time I had to get off his property. I kept asking him questions. He wasn't going to come around to a good place, and I had lost it by then anyway, so we were just yelling at each other.
So
I haven't ever done that except with my kids, so it's like, okay.
What about David?
No.
Good for you.
Well, or good for him, one or the other.
What's the next step?
Yeah. So, but stepping aside from that a little bit, one of the things that came to my epiphany was, here's a place that someone's been living for 2 to 3 years, and no one knew he didn't have a septic system. A new home always has to have a permitted septic system nowadays. We don't have any system. Well, that's why I was talking with Helen, because I don't know how their appraisals go. I don't know that they necessarily have a place to check off septic system, but they ask if they have one. But we don't have any, if we had zoning, it would be different, but we really don't have any internal system for the state or myself to know if someone has got a new property and has to have a new septic system.
Don't the listers on their lister card, I mean, you have improvements like a driveway and a well and a septic system, don't you? That aren't they all listed like that?
Yeah, but who looks at them, Gary?
Well, I just wondered if the listers could spot something like that, because they're supposed to do.
Yes. I mean, they know whether a property has a septic system or not.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything with it. That information, it's not in their handbook that they have to do anything with that
Right.
information. They wouldn't even know. I don't even know how they know when there's a new house going
Right.
up or a new home on a piece of property. Or there's a camp and someone's turned it into a year-round home and living there year-round. I don't know how they know that stuff other than somebody mentioning it
Right. I mean,
randomly.
I think they just have to know it, have to stumble upon it. They have to have someone tell them or whatever.
I mean, Rodney, the highway crew is always going up and down all these roads, and obviously they would see if somebody
Right.
is
Or when they do a reappraisal and they go to every property, right?
right.
Or if they had to have a mailbox, and then someone would have to give them the mailbox number or the 911 address or something. But there's no real official way to get it done.
And then, so the state does have a place where you can go online, put in a person's town of Tunbridge and put in a person's name and see if they have a permitted septic system, since if it's a new property.
So Betsy, what happens when it's a new property and somebody's, off the grid and they have a compostable toilet? That's considered an approved septic system?
The state can approve it, yes, but they
Okay.
still have to go through the state.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, there's all our regular septic systems, and there's actually even a way, I think, to have a state approved outhouse.
Right. I was thinking if you
Well, there
lived in
used to be. Don't hold me to that, please. There used to be.
if you live in a yurt or a teepee or something and you don't really have any septic, I wonder where the state comes down on that.
What do you mean they don't have a septic?
Well, like an outhouse essentially, right? That they keep moving. Is that considered does the state recognize that as a septic system?
What keeps moving? The home?
The outhouse.
The outhouse.
The house? the
It's like a-
outhouse,
like a
the
chicken
rules and
tractor?
regulations. What'd you say?
It's like a chicken tractor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The, the, I read the construction regulations for an outhouse a long time ago. And it's quite an engineering project. But I don't know if that's still one of their choices or not. I know the composting toilets. There are some systems that are unique that they do. I don't
Yeah.
know the names of them, but again, those systems tend to cost more,
Yeah, they put,
is what I hear.
they put compost and toilets into the old town hall in Brookfield. Because there's no land there and you're right beside
Right.
the pond. So when those people bought that and fixed it up, they had to put in compost and toilets, and it was a lot of money.
And they have to be serviced.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that burns, but then there's ashes and that all has to be taken care of in the right way. But anyways, what I realize is that we have this kind of this little hole that this property fell through. And he probably, and I'm pretty sure he knows he needs a septic system and it's going to cost money. And most people that are building, you know, have that all factored into their new home, but in their construction as a rule. Now, you know, there's two, one on Dickerman and one on Spring Road, that don't have systems yet. I just stopped at Dickerman on the way home, or David and I did, but nobody was home. So I was going to try and find out where they were at and what was going on. But I don't know. I know the state's supposed to be in charge of all that. I guess it comes down to, what do you as select board want, how you want Tunbridge to handle these kind of things. The listers don't need anything else on their shoulders. But if there was some place to keep a log of new properties
Right.
with dwellings.
I can see where it's not up to the listers to say something to the people or something, but they should report it to the select board or the health officer or whoever, saying that, you know, there's a new house going up on Dickerman Hill and they haven't got a septic. And then at least get the ball rolling if people know about it. And then we can go to the state or whatever.
Yeah, I would think it would be something, you know, if you had a zoning administrator, of course, it would just get reported to that person and whatever. But you aren't going to be in that kind of place. So you'd pick and the town clerk sometimes knows, because Wendy used to kind of fill me in on stuff too.
What about the treasurer? I mean, you got to send out a tax bill.
True.
Though of course you get it from the listers. So
Yeah. It's just if we kind of had a little internal system, so that maybe something like that didn't fall between the cracks for 2.5, 3 years.
yeah, because that's 4 years is when the listers go around town, right? Because they take a quarter every year.
Yeah,
And so theoretically that place could have sat up there for 4 years without ever being noticed.
Well, they've been once and they do need to go back, but they don't really want to. And I can't say as I blame them.
Could you go with them?
I want to take one of you guys with me. Come on.
I think Mike should
I
go.
want to see him push a man around.
Well, that must be it. Do you know anything about that, Betsy, where if town officials are threatened by property owners for some reason, you can go with a sheriff or a Vermont State Police next time?
Yes, I can, as health officer for sure, I can ask a sheriff to go with me. Guys, the one time I tried to do that, it isn't, if I couldn't go on their schedule at their scheduled times for Tunbridge, they couldn't do it, and the schedule was only went out a week at a time, and they couldn't change the schedule once it went out. It was not like, there was no flexibility to it, and it was something that was, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a timely thing. It wasn't something that could wait until next week to find out who was on the schedule, going to be on the schedule or something. I don't know. It was crazy. So,
What about the state police, Betsy? Would they go?
probably, but again, they're pretty busy.
Yeah, they are.
There's our town constables, I guess. What's the matter? One of you guys doesn't want to go? Your select board.
I'll
Hey,
go,
got
but I don't want
power.
to tell that.
if,
I want them to tell you to get the off
if
my
Big
property.
Dave won't get out of the truck, I certainly am not gonna.
Well, he was too far away. He couldn't quite hear the words.
Good excuse as any.
He knew some of them started with
Flurries, snow flurries. He was worried about snow flurries.
yeah, uh-huh.
Well, definitely, we need to keep this in mind and maybe work on it. Let me think about it, and maybe I'll come up with some smart thing to say. Some other
I'm
meeting.
just, are there such, can we do a process? Well, we got two conversations going on here. Some smart thing to say to this gentleman you're talking about. You want to go with me, Gary?
I'll go with you, sure. But anyway, I was just thinking about for future cases and recognizing whether someone has or doesn't have a septic system or whatever. We need a process for maybe the chair of the select board, or maybe the vice chair, or somebody to be in charge of that, or maybe the administrative assistant. I don't know, but we need to talk about it and figure it out.
I mean, if they, technically, you just need to know, number one.
Yeah.
And then someone needs to, if they're not going through a permitting process, which would probably be pretty unusual. I doubt you're going to have many situations like
Right.
that. They need to know, I mean, they already know they got to go through a permitting process, and they're probably dealing with it. And it would be somebody actually being mindful and checking up when they actually move in, go on the website and see if the actual permit was completed.
Right.
So it's that kind of, just a follow through thing, maybe once a month.
Well, maybe, I mean, literally, maybe our administrative assistant, whoever that is, would have the time to take that task on. I don't know. I'll throw it out there. Wendy.
Whoever takes the task on, okay, I think should also, is that a signal for time?
No,
Is she your timer?
I'm just tired of reading in the dark.
She is my timer.
So whoever collects that information also needs to be comfortable in calling the state and making a report. Because it's not always in somebody's comfort level.
Yeah.
They're very nice. It's really a matter of taking the time to call them and say, this is a property that doesn't have it, you know. They send their enforcement person out to check it out.
Well, I guess my question is, do we appoint someone that's already on, like one of us select board members or somebody else? Or do we hire someone and give them a stipend for doing this? And that's, they're, like Rudy's our flood zone administrator or whatever it is. And we give him a stipend every year, or Rudy's our tech guy. Do we need to get someone like that?
There you go. He's a lister. He's right
Yeah.
there. He knows it
Yeah.
all. Just give him another stipend.
Yeah, we'll give him another stipend.
Well, I'm okay with that. If he's okay, if he can.
Yeah,
stand-
I think it needs to be a conversation with these different
Well, I think we gotta talk to the
departments.
listers about it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I did talk with Helen quite a bit about it this morning, saying, you know, it'd be nice to figure out some sort of plan. I think she thought I expected her to do something more. And I said, no, I don't. I don't think the listers have to do more. It's just that you're kind of the people, it's kind of your role where you'd be aware before anybody else, maybe.
Hey, I've got an idea. I might see Rudy tomorrow gathering sap because he helps Mike out. And
Oh,
if I do, I will talk to him and just see what he thinks about it, and maybe
Yeah.
he'll have an idea too.
okay. Okay. Gary, I'll call you when I got to go up again.
Okay, I can do it. I
I'd
will.
like to work something out with him, but it may not be possible. It may be that I was thinking, he said, send him a letter. So maybe what I need to do is draft a letter and run it by you guys and see if he's going to be willing to talk with us about it at all. I mean, I realize it's not on us, and I realize he doesn't have a lot, but I don't know. We might be able to get something done before the state could, that's all.
Right. Well, just let us know. I can go.
Okay.
I love confrontation, so
Totally loves it, loves it.
so I'd be happy to go with you. Especially like nowadays that it's staying light longer. I could do it after chores at night or something like that. If it's
What
okay.
time do you get done chores?
Oh, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I get done chores at 7. I get home at 7:30,
Uh-huh.
unless I help the wife. Then I'm much later.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and to be continued. And
Yeah, whip up a letter or something and email
Yeah.
it to us or something.
yeah, I'll draft
Ye-
something, but I am one of those kind of people that I love it if you want to revise it or change it or have some suggestions. Always. You're not going to make me feel bad or anything.
All right, one more thing, Betsy, before I forget it. I don't know if a word got back to you or not, but I spoke with Dave Eggum about taking over your position.
Oh,
And he said he couldn't right now because he was working out his retirement. I don't remember exactly the details, but at that point, whenever that was, he said in 8 months, he would definitely consider it. So I would think in about 6 months, maybe he would take over your job.
awesome.
That's not very nice. Gary, I told her there was no chance of her getting out of it
Oh,
this morning.
we've got to coordinate our stories a little bit, I
Yeah,
guess.
I guess so.
Let her deal with this young man.
Yeah.
I should have told him that he wasn't respecting his elders very well. He is 60. So, yeah,
You're older than 60?
he is.
But,
This guy, that the property owner, is 60.
and you're older than 60?
A little bit.
Oh,
Quite a bit.
But he didn't know that. Just
Yeah.
you know, from talking to Betsy, he thought
Oh,
quite a bit younger.
I don't think he's ever had anybody that worked for the state say those kind of words to him. He said he just, I tried to be nice because he said he just had to put his horse down and he lost his son.
oh,
Really?
And I thought, okay, does he really have a son?
Or a horse.
And how long ago? And a horse. Yeah. He has a little miniature horse out there. I saw that. I don't know. And I said, well, I'm really sorry to hear that. He says, yeah, why don't you come back in a couple of months when I'm done grieving? I said, what about next week?
Betsy.
If it's a miniature
I
horse.
really wasn't very nice. I really wasn't. But I had fun, and he was not nice at all. He really wasn't. I said, but I rescued you. You took me out of my home. And I said, Anthony, you called me because you didn't have any heat.
He'd have froze to death if it weren't for you.
And you didn't have any heat and you didn't have any water. And this man wasn't, your land. And he says, oh, whatever. And he says, well, I own this property. I don't deal with Kavanaugh anymore. I said, yay, good for you. It didn't work. It didn't work. He was not in a good mood tonight. So, okay, enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
You had a good story, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What next, Madam AA?
Well, I don't see Mick, so we'll do discussion of bulk load prices at the transfer station.
Do you have any information on that, Mike?
I got this list from Randolph Transfer Station. And they were 15-gallon bag was $2.50 a bag, 30-gallon bag, $4 a bag, 45-gallon was $6 a bag, and then it's 50 cents per 5 pounds over that. I don't know whether they put it on the scales or what, but anyways, and then they have everything spelled out. Washers, dryers, $15. Dishwashers, stoves, compactors, gas grill without a propane tank, $15. Propane tanks, valve must be removed, $2. Hot water heaters, 15. Push mowers, $10. Snow blowers, $10 without gas. Riding mowers, $30. Refrigerators, 40. Freezers, 40. AC units, 20. Dehumidifiers, 20. Twin mattress, 20. Full mattress, 25. Queen, 30. King, 35. Box spring. So I don't know. Tractor trailer, big truck tires, tractor trailer tires, $30. Small tractor tires, $20. No large farm tractor tires. Batteries, $5. Car tires without rim, $6. Car tire with rim, $12. So I don't know if this would be worth giving to Mike and to use as a guideline or what.
I think something like that, especially for the non-garbage bag type stuff,
Right,
would be really helpful to him. And then,
right,
then like if we have a pickup load or whatever of do we want to have a pickup load or rate on garbage, or do we want to just go by the bag or however it works?
Well, we have no way of weighing a pickup, right?
Right, no,
And so, they have trash by the yard. But I don't know how, you would do that if a pickup came in. They got $16 a yard for trash per cubic yard. And so unless he measured the truck, and they have a minimum fee of 2 yards. So, if you come in with a pickup with sideboards on it,
right.
the minimum's gonna be $32.
But you'd have to have like a small pickup and a medium pickup and a large pickup or something like that.
Well, you'd have to measure the trucks. I mean,
Right. And I suppose once you measure one truck, if you had the same size load come in on another, you could just say
Right.
that.
Right.
But then it comes, well, yeah, it comes to a matter of judgment to some
Yes.
extent.
And
Oh, just a second. I just gotta go feed this lamb. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Keep the discussion going. It's good.
and they have yard waste, which I assume is grass clippings and leaves.
Yeah.
That's $50 a yard.
Huh.
And they don't charge for metal. And clean, they take in wood. But it's gotta be clean, no paint, no metal.
Do they put that in a regular compactor then with the garbage or?
I
not?
think the clean wood they do.
Yeah.
I don't know about the yard waste. I don't know.
I would think they'd want to be separate.
I would think so, but like I said, I just printed this off Randolph's website. And
Well, I really think that we need something like that on our website. We need it, maybe a larger sign stating all that stuff at the transfer station itself. And if
Yeah.
you could have Mike on board, knowing that he could just point at something saying that's what it costs,
and
making it up as he goes.
they have all electronic stuff spelled out, cell phones, $5, small radios, $5, small copiers, $20, TVs, they don't charge, or computers.
Hmm.
Um,
And so what do they?
Oh, no, that's for if a school district
Oh,
or something.
so what do they consider to be electronics? Is it just computers and the peripheries and?
TVs, whatever a CPU is. Monitors, whole computer system, console TVs, computer printer. They got 3 pages of stuff here.
Hmm.
But in this one, says devices not covered by state of Vermont e-cycle program, which is cell phones, personal music players, game consoles, telephones, power supply cords, radios, small copiers, VCR players.
So that they accept that kind of stuff, or they don't accept it, or they?
Well, they
charge-
got prices for it.
So they must.
So the only thing it says they do not accept is large copiers. And then it says, okay, and then it says, oh, the TVs and the monitors and stuff, individuals who bring in 7 or fewer devices can recycle at no charge. But if you bring in a bunch of stuff, then they charge you for it. TVs and
Yeah.
printers and computers and stuff like that.
Well, I don't see how we can accept that kind of stuff because the whoever it is, Central Vermont Solid Waste or whoever it was, slapped our hand because we had the
Right.
TV there or something.
Right.
We just can't, we need to accept anything that can go in the compactor, but other than that, they have to wait till electronics day.
I'm wondering. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't think we should take any of that stuff.
I mean,
Well-
if it's legal to put it in a compactor, then
Right,
we can charge for it or, yeah, I guess we'd have to charge for
but
it.
they got, they got sofas, $30, carpets, they got all the prices listed for what they charge for all that kind of stuff.
Well, we a lot of times will have a large item day in June or whenever it is, and then we could charge for that day, but otherwise we wouldn't accept a sofa because we don't want the thing sitting around.
Right. Right.
Hey, can I jump in for a second?
Sure, Todd, go ahead.
Yeah, I've actually got the video going because I've got high speed here at the radio station. Isn't there a day when electronic components can be brought in, like one day a year, and people don't get charged that? Mike, did you see that in any of your research?
No,
I think commonly we have had that in the past and
yeah,
some reason, like Kathleen Gent or whoever it was, might have indicated that we could have one, but I might be speaking out of turn.
It would be good to check on that because if they are planning to do that, the solid waste management districts around the state, I think if they do it, it's only once a year. But if we know about it, we would definitely want to, emphasize that because people will definitely have a lot of stuff to bring in. And if they don't have to pay for it, because if they don't bring it in because we can't really do it at an exorbitant price, I don't know where they're going to put it, but it's not going to be very good.
Maybe Wendy could look into, call Central Vermont Solid Waste and see if they are planning a electronics day. And I think they're planning a,
hazardous waste.
yeah, that's usually in June sometime.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we have ours in June,
Yeah,
the hazardous waste, because they first put it on May 22nd, and I said, we're having town meeting, so we put it to June. One of the Saturdays, but I'll call about the electronics.
but if we could have that information sooner than later, then we could advertise it all we can, so people could really plan on it.
How many years has it been since Tunbridge doesn't accept electronics? It's been what, 2-3 years maybe?
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. And we went longer than we were supposed to.
Yeah, because we used to lug them over to Bethel there, remember?
Right, exactly. And they're still accepting them, I think, all the time.
I think so.
So I guess we gotta make up our minds here. I mean, can we simply, do you guys think we can simply just accept what Mike has given us? I mean, I don't know quite the process here.
I think something like Mike's list, we should show Mike Barnaby and see sort of,
Right.
what his thoughts might be on it. I mean,
He doesn't have to follow this list, but it might be a good, reference.
a prompt, yeah.
If somebody whips in with a mattress, and you don't really know what to charge them, this would
Right.
give you something to go by.
Well, at some point we could have Janet or something make up a list of all those things.
Right.
Right, but
Mike-
we can't accept a mattress anyway, because we can't get it in the compactor.
No, but in the large roll off, can't we? The large item roll off?
Do we still have that? I haven't paid attention recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know, we've never really talked about what officially can and cannot go in there.
right. The only trouble I have with that is if you throw an old mattress in there and then it sits there for 2 or 3 months all of a sudden the thing weighs 500 pounds and we pay by the pound to get rid of, or pay by the ton to get rid of it. Paying for
Right.
water.
Yeah.
But if
But
that's.
Mike I talked to him, what, Saturday, and he said that, I said I'd bring it up at the meeting that, that I think he almost had 150 cars coming in on Saturday, but he said it's hard predicting because a couple people, at least, don't go for 1 or 2 weeks and then they come in with a pickup or 2 pickup loads of, just packed, and maybe they're Tunbridge businesses in some ways, or self-employed people who are using it for their commercial stuff. So we may have to make up some sort of guidelines on that too.
Yeah, I know I don't go every week by any means, and I might go once a month. And when I do go, I've got 6 or 8 bags of garbage, and I've got a whole half a truckload of recycling.
Right, but if you say you had a business,
Right.
Whether say like your ag bags, it's like, oh, I'm going to take 3 pickups loads of that. It would just be hard for Mike to sort of predict when all of a sudden it's noon on Saturday and somebody's jammed a whole mess of ag bags in there and there's no room anymore.
Right.
So we might have to come up with just some protocols on if it's really just for residents, it's not for commercial businesses.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's easy enough to do. Just say just that.
Yeah.
And even as a courtesy, I mean, I don't think I should be allowed to bring in 3 pickup loads of ag bag material in one day.
Right.
Just because I might plug the whole thing up and all of a sudden nobody else can do it.
Right. I guess we could have a ceiling then on how much you could bring potentially.
Right. Because I can especially see in another month or whatever, spring cleanup, people could, just bring a whole bunch of stuff. They could just, Saturday is perfect weather like it was today. Let's go to the dump.
Yeah.
Nice part about living in West Tunbridge is Bill Cameron has a backhoe, so we just go out and bury it
Oh,
and don't have to worry about that stuff.
yeah. Do
Mattresses.
you make septic systems too
Yes,
in the dark of the night?
make them out of 65 Rambler station wagon.
Yeah.
You roll the windows halfway down.
Yeah.
He's good to go.
Use a box spring for your leach field.
Yeah.
I see it working. So
Well,
how do we wanna put-
I think let's share this list with Mike and see, if he has some thoughts on it. And then next meeting, let's try to nail down what our price list.
Wendy could go on to the town of Randolph website and print this off or something for Mike.
Right.
Because I never go to the dump.
Right, because you don't have to.
Right.
Okay.
We got a backhoe over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll bring it down to Mike and have him look at it. And then,
And he doesn't have to go by it, but it's just something that he could reference,
eventually though, we'd probably need to post everything though, so.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But then we could talk to Mike and say, do you think these are fair prices or whatever? But these prices were probably made up by Casella,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
who is in the trash business. So they're probably real prices,
Right.
And they're high for Tunbridge, right?
Right.
Sure are. Well, let's do that. Then next meeting, we can actually get some input from Mike, see what he says, and then we'll make up a real list.
Sounds good.
Good.
All right, I'll run him down a copy of that tomorrow.
We could call it the transfer facilitation from now on.
Hey, that's a good idea. I have to get a big signboard.
That's a big word. It's
Okay,
Mueller too.
so until then, you guys will keep getting letters from people with their pickup trucks. But, or they can bring it to Mike's place over there in West Tunbridge.
Yeah, we'll just direct them to West Tunbridge, where the sun never sets.
Full pickup trucks this way.
That's right.
Yeah, the road's in good shape, so they won't have any trouble getting over there.
Yeah, well, I told Rodney we gotta leave the little mud bog between here and the other side of the hill somewhere. So keep the
Okay.
traffic down.
That'll develop after a while.
Okay. Are you ready?
All right, Todd, do you have anything to add, or are you just looking in over our shoulder?
I always have something to add. I've been enjoying the stand-up, actually the sit-down comedy. But no, I'll wait for my turn on other business.
We're there.
Yeah, we've
Well,
been there for the last hour.
Couple more things, but you can have them do that now.
You want to do other business now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay,
Todd.
so I was doing radio here, just real quick, a little flashback. So you had a town meeting discussion a little bit earlier in the agenda, is that correct?
Not yet.
We haven't had it yet. It was gonna be
Oh.
just town morning.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that if the radio station can help as far as amplification or a stage or something like that down at the fairgrounds, just let me know. So the thing that John is probably pretty aware of, and everybody else might be as well, is that with the federal stimulus money coming in, and I know it is still being allocated by state and also town by town, I just wanted to reiterate what was discussed as one of the parts of last year's town meeting about the possibility, if the funding was available, for a solar project that the town could be involved with. I know that I don't know what they're calling the Save America plan or whatever is coming out of Congress, that infrastructure is being mentioned over and over again. And infrastructure, maybe when they define the terms, may include energy or saving the town money through infrastructure. So when you start to get the heads up on how much money Tunbridge is going to receive, I did a rough back of the hand calculus based on what South Burlington, our representative Peter Welch mentioned they were going to get. I forget the amount, but I divided their number, which is 19,000 in population, and I used 1,000 for us, although I think it might be closer to 1,300, that there's the potential of $250,000 coming to Tunbridge sometime in the next part of that. I think half of that in the next couple of months, and then the remainder coming before the end of the year. So I just wanted to plant that idea. Don't forget about renewable energy and the future savings for the town. And that was my main thrust.
All right. Very interesting, Todd.
So Todd, how did South Burlington already have numbers on what they were going to get?
Well, Peter Welch gave apparently on Monday, so just a couple of days ago, gave a press conference, and a number of the larger towns that have city councils that were meeting that night were part of that Zoom meeting or whatever it was. And Peter Welch was quoted as saying, I think it was in the paper that I read on Tuesday morning, it might've been in Vermont Digger. I would more likely, in fact, a lot of the papers get their information from Vermont Digger. So that's vtdigger.org. He quoted a number that whatever was 20 times greater than the sum of, let's see, 20 times 250,000, whatever that, I don't know what the number is, but, and I'm in my own estimation, I heard that the allocation within each state, whatever they get, will be based on the population of each town. So that's why I use that factor of dividing the South Burlington number by 20, but that is not, been validated by anything. But I think there's going to be significant funds, and some towns are, hurting. In fact, I think I read that one town was saying, well, we got to replace a culvert that's going to use up all of the money that we might get. But I know there are a lot of demands on the town of Tunbridge. This isn't free money that's coming in, but it's a little bit of unexpected money. So it's more of a heads up for the select board to just be aware of the priorities that the town has, so that when that number comes in, and whatever priorities there are that comply with the COVID, because it is tied to COVID related needs, but energy might be part of that infrastructure definition. So the state has, the feds and the state have not defined that yet. So it's kind of a moving target, but I think we're going to know within the next 30 days of what those priorities are, not priorities, but what those definitions are.
Great. Yeah, I assume if it's like last time, I mean, they didn't just send money to Tunbridge, but they set it up as a sort of almost like grants or loans that don't have to get paid back kind of thing. And so this time maybe, right, it's a per capita and it's, it'll have certain guardrails as far as how you can spend it.
Definitely. The guardrails are definitely on there. And it's some people are getting a little antsy about when there's a lot of money out there, a lot of people get a little impatient, but I just, in case it wasn't on your radar screen, I just wanted to make sure you knew about it.
All right, thank you,
Yeah.
Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
You're welcome.
All right, what other business do we have?
Just a couple things. So did you guys read the letter from Betsy from the Conservation Commission? You
Yeah.
pulled it up. Yeah. Okay, so this meeting was just to be aware of that letter, and then next meeting, we decided that if you wanted to appoint Neil and Michael Sacca, we would invite them to the meeting, and then you guys could meet them.
Yeah.
And appoint them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's a good idea.
all right, so that's good. So you're aware of that letter, all right? And then the next thing was review the town meeting warning. Do you want to see that? Because we probably need to get that to Anissa at some point.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull that up.
While you're doing that, I'm going to get another glass of water.
For it.
This gonna be, that's gonna be the dry part of the meeting. Wendy,
You mean not fun? Is that what you're saying? What do you mean dry part? Boring? No, all I have to do is just, okay, here's this was what I think could be the final draft. And then, the one thing I did was I put the town clerk under the officers. So I don't know if you want that as a separate article or you want that under the officers. I can't remember how you normally do it.
So where is it?
Right here, town clerk.
Oh, to elect.
So to elect all officers.
Yeah, that's where it should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I can send this around if you want to read it then, but this is, I got the number for the fire department, and I broke up the operating and highway expenditures.
Yep.
So,
I think it looks okay.
okay, that would be. And then I put in pre-town meeting is Tuesday, May 11th.
Yep.
Zoom. Okay. I'll just send that around to you guys and then you can confirm. Okay. So then the warrants,
I went through the warrants and they looked all good to me. So I make a motion, we accept them. To be
I second
paid.
that.
Well, wait till we get that done.
Okay, well, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye,
All
All right.
got
right,
it.
one thing. I looked through our current budget and stuff. And it looks to me like we're in really good shape. Cause I figure we ought to be about 75% on everything,
Mhm.
roughly. And which some things are, but most everything is way under that. There's several items that are way above that, but not very many.
Right.
And
Are you
most of it,
Are you looking at general or highway or pretty much both, Mike?
everything. General and highway. And most everything is below 75%. The only things that really jump out at you are Judy Howe, because we've had her do so much
Right.
cleaning and stuff. And also the Mike Barnaby is pretty near maxed out on his what we had budgeted to pay him,
That's okay.
but that's okay.
And I bet we might get some COVID money for that too. I don't know what,
Yeah.
if we could certainly make the case. We did it for COVID.
Yeah,
Right.
because the only things that are really high is just town office cleaning, supplies, town hall cleaning, all this stuff. Those are the only garage cleaning. Those are the only stuff that's really high.
And that's COVID too, come to think of
Right.
it. So,
Right,
Yep. Right.
right. So I think we're setting pretty as far as money goes. Unless something horrible happens, but we're down on sand and gravel and everything. So
Right.
So anyways, I just think we're setting pretty good for this time of year because our expenses should be down, from now till the 1st of July,
Right.
unless mud season really does raise its ugly head, but
Doesn't look likely.
so when there are surpluses in either one of those, general or highway, I know highway we can roll over, right? But if we had a surplus, on July 1st this summer, do we have to wait all the way for town meeting and then have
think
voters
so.
approve? Wow. So it just
Think
sort of
so.
sits in like an escrow account essentially till then.
Yeah.
yeah, because we got to save it, till we vote on it.
Yep.
Oh, the one question I had, I'm sure you guys can answer it because you live over in the center of the city. Mariah Lawrence, is that library?
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was, but
I don't know what all that stuff was for.
I don't know why wouldn't they put library?
Well, I think it had to do with library, but when you actually look at the orders and you can look at the receipts, you can figure out what that money's for, but that's the trouble with looking at it on your computer or like I'm
Right.
looking at it right now on my phone. You can't see
Right.
what it's for.
It just says supplies, special projects.
Yeah. She must have been getting reimbursed or something.
Yeah. Okay, I thought that's what it was, but I just wanted to make sure.
Like she did what was it called? It wasn't story. Well, some of them were story hours, but those books that she did around the fairground,
Yeah.
oval,
Something
so maybe it goes way back to something like that.
could be. All right, any other comments or critiques?
That's-
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, so I actually, Gary and I talked a while ago, and I'm trying to keep track of whose term is up this year on the select board.
Ron O'Brien.
John O'Brien.
John O'Brien.
So, John, I'm not putting you on the spot, but I've been reading other town reports, and obviously some town meetings happened on March 2nd, and there are several that are happening later on. But I know from having gone to our town meeting that we've had times when and Gary could probably empathize with this, where no one really knew whether somebody whose term was up was planning to run again or wanted to remain on the select board. So John, don't have to answer the question, but will you let folks know whether you're planning to continue ahead of time or not before May 22nd?
Yeah, I think, did we talk about it in the minutes last meeting? I can't remember, but no, I plan to
missed
run
it.
again. I plan to run
Okay,
again.
good.
Todd.
All right, appreciate that.
I gotta get my John O'Brien signs out again.
You got to litter West Tunbridge with those signs.
That's right. Can I count on you to deliver West Tunbridge for me, Mike?
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I got
precinct.
the
It's a
boys all
precinct.
lined up.
The West Tunbridge precinct.
He and Bill Cameron in his backhoe, and they'll hit the street.
If it wasn't a dry precinct, I would offer some upper pass.
All right, anything else, Wendy?
That's it.
All right, Todd, it's your turn to tell us a joke before we leave.
Well, you don't want to go there, Gary, and I'm not really good at telling jokes, but I think if you just, if you read the front page of today's paper, you might have seen one.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, when it's Wendy again.
Yeah.
No more calf foot jokes, so.
Oh, I don't have a joke ready.
What about John? Emily must have one.
Emily always has one.
Yeah, but she went to bed, so that's not gonna help us.
Get her out of bed.
Text her.
We'll have to have Wendy. Will have to Google a joke, right?
Huh. I'm not good at jokes when I'm on the spot.
Must be one out there.
Town meeting joke. Select board joke. Municipal government joke. The whole a sub genre.
Why did the turkey cross the road twice?
Don't know.
To prove he wasn't a chicken.
Ah,
Pretty good.
That's a
Let's
good
have,
one.
let's have Wendy look up jokes beforehand next time.
Yeah.
Well, it's between that and turning on the recording. That's always a lot to remember. I'll try. If John
right.
doesn't remind me, to turn on the recording.
Well, I make a motion, we adjourn then.
I second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Been good seeing you all.
yeah.
So when's our next meeting?
April.
April 13th.
Okay. Oh, Wendy, we were gonna talk about your departure.
Oh, my departure? Yeah, it can be before, it can be like next month in April.
Just
I've
let
been in touch with
let
Mark.
us know so we can do some planning.
Yo, you gonna have a party?
Yes,
Out in the pea field.
In the snow.
That's right.
Snow
And then you
peas.
have so much extra money in the budget. Should be good.
That's never good.
I like fireworks, just saying.
All right, I'll see you later.
What is
Bye.
your schedule, Wendy? Sometime next month, then you get real busy.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, I'll get you, I'll get you a firm date.
Okay.
I'll get a firm date. I'll have an actual date.
Well, now hopefully you'll have enough flexibility too in your schedule to, you have to train the next AA.
Yeah. No, that's not a problem. I'm not going anywhere. Still, I'm going anywhere.
All righty. Good.
All right.
All right.
See you, bye.
Bye.